The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Things I thought could never happen. Me in a punk band?
What?
We Are Lady Parts, a new original comedy streaming only on Peacock.
A confused mix of hash anthems and sour girl power. Syra, vocals. Aisha, drummer. Bisma, bassist. Mumtaz, band manager. And me, Amina, lead guitar.
You were really good until you puked all over the front row. Ew.
We Are Lady Parts, all episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Amazon is hiring near you, and it literally pays to start now. Get a sign-on bonus up to $1,500 on top of competitive wages. You'll do important work, learn new skills, and get orders ready as part of a dedicated team. So find a job with benefits that fits your life, full-time or part-time, day or night, and start now to get a sign-on bonus up to $1,500 before they're gone. Let's work together. Visit Amazon.com/sign-on bonus. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Get insurance now. Call us
Hold up, no jingles at NGM Insurance.
Why not?
That's not our thing.
All insurance companies need a jingle.
Our insurance speaks for itself, so we don't need gimmicks. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what are you guys up to?
Oh, little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show you'll find here.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of reef rice along on your boy?
What that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
I was looking at the Pentagon report. They finally released the the full UFO report.
What a disappointing pile of shit. All this build up for this thing. What a wah wah. That's all was in my head when I was reading it.
Well, what's in it for the Pentagon? Like, were they making money off of this in some way? Because I can understand if, like, you're HBO and you know that you've got a, bullshit final season for Game of Thrones, but it's done. Like, it's got to come out, right? You can't just be like, never mind. So you got to hype it up. So you got to be like, oh, that final season, everybody tune in. You're not going to shit on your own product. But in this case, what's in it for the Pentagon to hype this thing up? Why couldn't they just say, hey, we're going to go ahead and release this report, but it's only so that you can see that there's absolutely nothing in it.
Yeah. And my mind always goes to, especially when it comes from the government, it's like, how much did this cost? How much did this how much of my paychecks for the last X amount of years went to pay for this?
Well, I mean, this is important stuff to track outside of, all of our curiosities about possible alien life forms out there. They don't completely shit on the idea of aliens. They just see no proof of it, but they also have unexplained phenomenon. And they have 4 categories: airborne clutter, so birds, balloons, recreational unmanned aerial vehicles, plastic bags.
Airborne clutter, totally a band name.
Yeah, that is a pretty good band name, actually. Yeah. A natural atmospheric phenomena.
That'd be the album by Airborne Clutter.
Yeah, that's includes ice crystals, moisture, thermal fluctuations. I can see, we know that there's mirage phenomenon that happens in the desert. Why wouldn't there be the same potential for you have a lot of moisture in the air or something, and the light's reflected in the right way?
There's mirage phenomenon when you're driving on a sunny day.
Right. So I can see that being because of some of these things. The USG, or Industry Developmental Programs.
Not a good band name or album name at all.
That's like the prog rock band that never quite caught on, but has enough of a following that the members just aren't going to give up, and they're still playing the bars every weekend.
Like they went on tour with Rush once in 1982.
Yeah, they got to open for them when a local band, got sick or something.
Yeah.
Some UAP observations could be attributable to developments and classified programs by U.S. entities. We are unable to confirm, however, that these systems accounted for any of the... if I'm reading this correctly, and I'm not sure, this is really not in plain English, but it sounds like what they're saying is that some of the phenomenons that were recorded, we know the explanation, but we can't give away that classified information because it's either it was a
Area 51.
It was either a government program or it was a private-owned program that was, like Bezos's rocket program or any of the now developing rocket programs from independently wealthy billionaires.
Elon paid him enough to shut up. It's crazy.
I think that. While you don't want to broadcast all of your rocketry research to everyone, the government does have to be in the loop for certain things like, hey, we're going to be launching some rockets, so don't freak out, right? So then if somebody in the armed forces sees something and they're like, whoa, I just recorded a UFO, and they're like, no, that actually lines up with this program that that Bezos was doing or something, but we're just not at liberty to give out that information.
I'm sure anytime you put anything into the sky, you have to tell somebody, some governing body.
And then the fourth category that they put on here, foreign adversary systems. Some UAP may be technologies deployed by Russia, China, another nation, or a non-governmental entity.
So someone else's shit.
Yeah. And there is actually is a fifth category on the next page here. Just other.
What do you mean other? You can't have other on a form like this.
That's everything that doesn't fall in the four categories that they can't explain it enough to at least put it into one of those categories.
Are these standards left over from the previous administration? Other? Really?
They might as well just say could be aliens, shrug emoji.
It's just a picture of that guy from the meme.
The one that taps his head?
The guy with the crazy hair. Aliens.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Pretty underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's not... maybe this is an abridged version. This is only this is under 10 pages. This is 9 pages long. That's including the appendices. Is that the plural of appendix?
That's taken a long way to say we got nothing.
Yeah. But to announce, how long is it? Seems like it's been a year now that we've heard that, they're putting the paperwork together. You could have said at the time, we're going to put this paper out. It's going to be short. It's going to be vague because, first of all, how could it be anything else? If you knew exactly what it was and that it was aliens, it would no longer be an unidentified aerial phenomenon, as they're now calling it, or UAP.
This could have been
even
something...
a UFO, right? So if you asked for all the information on unidentified phenomenon, you would not get any information that would directly key you into aliens, because that information, once it was identified as being possibly alien, would go into a different fucking bucket. It would not remain in the unidentified aerial phenomenon bucket that they're calling all this information from. It would get kicked up another level if any of that shit came to light.
To me, with what the story ended up being, it deserves to be where Ron Burgundy was reading the water skiing squirrel story. Your kicker right at the end when you're getting ready to end the newscast. Oh, hey, by the way, government came out with a report. We don't know about UFOs.
Real quick, yeah.
Right,
here's an Alf joke.
Yeah,
and we're out.
But instead, it's been hyped up for a year.
Have a good long weekend.
For nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. It's not even just the last year that they hyped it up. It was the previous decades of people like, the government has all this information that they're not telling us about these things. And then they were like, okay, this is it. We're finally going to do it. Then they made us wait another year on top of that without saying, BT dub, it's a nothing burger.
Yeah. I mean, it's something, if you're the government, it's something you just put out, you don't, no hype, just put it out. Hey, by the way, nothing. Moving on. Oh, hey, by the way, Space Force found some coke on a beach.
That could be aliens.
Right.
Right? That was probably aliens trafficking.
Aliens like to party.
Yeah. I assume aliens like to party. Wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
I mean, we always portray them in fiction as very no-nonsense. But how do we know that, like, I don't know, maybe the first aliens that we come in contact are just kind of joyriding, you know? They're just out. We got, like, you know, alien fear and loathing happening.
Yeah. Fear
and loathing in the Milky Way galaxy. There's 2 aliens with a suitcase full of drugs.
Fucking, I mean, it's, and again, it's hubristic to think that we are the only spot in the infinite universe where life collected. I say, come on, man. This is just our government going, we don't have any evidence right now.
Yeah. And right. That's what I'm saying. Like anything that points to aliens wouldn't be anywhere near this report.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be unidentified for starters. We'd think, hey, you'd at least be able to give it some kind of name, because that's what we do now. We'd call it some kind of life form, and I'm sure somebody would be offended about what we chose to call it. And then we'd scare it away.
I mean, I think we already scared them away. I mean, what reason would they have to make contact?
Right? Yeah, if they're getting anything from the last 50 years, keep moving. Nothing to see here.
Stopping by and studying us and figuring out what's going on, like, that's totally reasonable. I would expect that of a higher, you know, life form that's exploring the universe. But to be like, oh no, we need to hang out with these dudes, like, why? What would we bring to the table?
Yeah. If they've managed interstellar travel, we can offer them nothing. Yeah. We can't get off of the rock.
If you got a time machine, you might go back and check out some cave people.
But you're not staying.
You're not, no, right? So you guys sleep on the floor, huh? All right, see you later.
Huh? Outside, huh?
Yeah.
Wait, I got to shit where? All right, cool. I'm going to at least the 1930s. We're going to start there. Right. Where indoor plumbing became, you know, relatively widespread.
Yeah, at least get to indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're a time traveler, you probably don't want to go back any further than that, because you'd probably be dead within the week from some virus that you have no natural immunity to. No, your body's like, I ain't seen that shit before.
And it's also, there's certain parts of history, what is it, still part of the Louis C.K. routine. If you're a black guy, you're stopping at like 1980. Like,
That's true.
We're good here.
Yeah. And even outside of race, just like popping up somewhere, like you have no connections, you have no identity, you're just a vagrant as far as anybody else knows. So you're going to be what? Most likely enslaved in some way.
Oh man,
you know, you're going to be a serf.
You can't go too far into the future either, because then that could happen to you as well. Look at this strange time traveler. Seize him.
You'd get seized immediately by the time travel police. That's what happens in Loki. That's the plot of the Loki show on Disney Plus. He time travels. Well, let's see. What movie? You've seen an Avengers movie, right?
I've seen Thor. I know who Loki is.
Oh, you know who Loki is, right?
Yeah.
But I was wondering if you've seen, like, he tries to get his hands on the cosmic cube, and he ends up getting captured, but there's like a alternate timeline where he gets away with the cube. And that Loki, the one that's in the series, is actually a variant, they refer to him as. It's an alternate version of Loki that's on that like gets stuck on an alternate timeline.
It's in the Loki multiverse.
Well, there's not really a multiverse, which is interesting. There's one continuous time stream, and it's, according to this show, is policed by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. So when things do happen that branch from the main timeline, basically, the they get a signal and they go to that branch of the timeline and they take out the problem and then wipe it out.
It's like some Minority Report shit.
Well, yeah, it is interesting because, and I doubt that they're going to get into this, but it does raise some human rights issues, doesn't it? Like, yeah, so there's a different, like the timeline has branched, and now there's a parallel universe where a copy of you that, you know, made a decision to turn left instead of right.
Yeah.
And that changed some course that your life was on. Who gets to decide which one of those versions is quote unquote not real and therefore not? Well,
yeah, strap in for the stoner talk, kids. I mean, time is essentially trillions of moments right in front of you, and it's all based on the decision you make. There are many, like so many outcomes to everything you do that are possible, and it's all based on the decisions you make.
Well, that's kind of why I can't fully believe in a multiversal theory. Like there's scientists that believe that they've seen evidence. I mean, we haven't fully, you know, theorized this yet, but they've seen stuff that points to the fact that there might be parallel universes constantly branching for every decision. And I'm like, I don't need for every decision for every person, everywhere.
Well, that's a lot of parallel universes.
And like, what reaches the threshold for a parallel universe? Like, if I decide to scratch my butt with my left hand instead of my right hand, is that a branch? Or does it have to elevate to the level of, like, I decide to not leave the house or leave the house?
Well, I think we're now, are we straying into butterfly effect type shit here now, too?
Right. But you mean that it would just be infinite universes out there, and that in every one of them, for most of them, I mean, let's imagine if you have infinite chances to live your life, that in most of those you're probably going to survive to a very old age.
Damn, I know. I've seen Groundhog Day. I'm aware.
So there's just infinite copies of me continually branching off with every decision.
I guess so.
I don't know. I mean, I wonder how much of this is like a thought experiment to help one conceive time in ways that scientists think about it, and how much that scientists really believe that.
Maybe they were high.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Well, here we are, deep in the heart of summer road trip season. But before you hit the road, make sure your car's in tip-top shape at Advance Auto Parts. Right now, get free Gum Out Regain Fuel System Cleaner with a qualifying Pennzoil oil change bundle. And while you're there, have your battery tested free. Because during road trip season, nothing sounds better than a perfectly humming engine. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Amazon is hiring near you, and it literally pays to start now. Get a sign-on bonus up to $1,500 on top of competitive wages. You'll do important work, learn new skills, and get orders ready as part of a dedicated team. So find a job with benefits that fits your life, full-time or part-time, day or night, and start now to get a sign-on bonus up to $1,500 before they're gone. Let's work together. Visit Amazon.com/sign-on bonus. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Enrich your journey with a Honda CR-V. From camping in the mountains to picking up friends at the airport, the Honda CR-V will get you there. With a powerful 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, Honda Sensing Standard, and available premium audio system. The Honda CR-V. Fun to drive wherever you go.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
But we do know, I mean, we've already had, we've had references to a multiverse in the Marvel Universe. So we know that there's one coming. I mean, that's the name of the next Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of Madness.
This is how they make the Avengers and Star Wars This is Patton Oswalt's speech. This is the beginning of that happening. This is laying that groundwork. So in 10 fucking years, there's fucking Star Wars versus the Avengers.
Yeah. Well, okay, so they've certainly done this in the comic books, right? But it kind of takes place on a neutral ground, or it's always a what if type of story. It's never like if Captain America was to show up in the same comic book as Superman, that would be its own special. That would not happen in the Superman book. That would just destroy the... Like in the 70s and 80s when they would just have specials? Right, yeah, so...
It's the Andy Williams Christmas special.
It'd be something like that. I mean, they've done a whole crossover event that was co-published by DC and Marvel. But, it was all separate short stories or mini-series. And there's DC does a lot of them. Actually, the Batman... meets or I don't know if it's meets or versus or fights the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That one's pretty decent. I think they've done 3 of them now. I haven't read all 3, but I read the first series and it was really fun. And Warner Brothers has also done a lot of pairings with their superheroes and Warner Brothers cartoon properties. So,
like Batman and Bugs Bunny.
Close. Batman versus Elmer Fudd was one.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Done very dark, very noir.
How? What, was Elmer Fudd hunting bats? I mean, what?
I forget. I mean, there was kind of a plot, but these were all done for fun. These were all one-off issues, so you didn't really need a full story. You just needed to say, hey. What if Elmer Fudd was in the world of Batman and he was grim and gritty?
Man, I don't see the appeal of that.
It's just good fun. I mean, like you were saying, like they could mash up Star Wars and Marvel, and they could, but I cannot see a world where in the next Avengers movie Luke Skywalker shows up.
You don't want to see...
There's no reason for that to happen. But now if Marvel or if Disney said, hey, we're doing a mashup series, it's going to be 6 episodes and it's going to be, Captain America versus Luke Skywalker. Captain America gets shot into an alternate universe and he meets Luke Skywalker and they go off and have an adventure where at first they fight each other, then they realize we're on the same side. But that would be totally separate.
Tell me you would not watch the buddy comedy that pairs Peter Quill and Han Solo, because I would.
I would totally watch it. I would, but I'm saying that's how it would happen. It's not going to happen in the canon universe. It's not like they're not going to do a Star Wars movie about Han Solo and Peter Quill just pops up.
I want to see Peter Quill flying the Millennium Falcon. Make it happen. Disney, let's go. I want to see Chewbacca behind Peter Quill.
Rocket's really the pilot. He's the better pilot.
Rocket and Chewbacca hanging out, playing cards.
Chewbrocket.
Chewbrocket. Well, they get too drunk one night. That happens.
Yeah, that's what they Rocket and Chewbacca are a bad influence on each other, and they stop bathing, they just drink all the time, and they're matted fur. Like when Rocket jumps up onto Chewbacca's shoulders, and their matted fur just like meshes together, and they become like one 2-headed beast called the Chewbrocket.
Yeah, they would probably be a bad influence on each other. They would probably not get shit done. They would get fired from their first mate positions.
Yeah.
They would be causing more harm than good.
Yeah, well, I mean, first conversation they would have, Rocket would be like, why aren't you running shit, Chewbacca?
Right. Well, that's what Rocket does. He's an instigator.
Right. Rocket's like, if I was 8 feet tall and had a 6-foot reach...
Yeah, why are you letting that...
Nobody would tell me what to do with the ship.
This guy's like 2 feet fucking shorter than you, and you let him order you around. What the fuck are you doing?
You could pop anyone's arm out of its socket. Yeah. Anyone on this ship.
You should be the captain.
And you know how to fix it.
Yeah.
And fly it. Specious.
I'm sure there's somebody somewhere that's mad that Chewbacca is brown and it ends up being just a mechanic. I'm sure there's somebody on Twitter riled up about that somewhere.
I mean, he could be a Wookiee of color. It's hard to really tell.
Right. Or no, you would just make it, no, Twitter would turn it into a class thing. That's what you do. You know, I did start watching 30 Rock again. I know I was saying it didn't hold up, and there are some things that don't, like, it's just the topical stuff, but
yeah,
I forgot fucking how funny Tracy Morgan is on that show.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Just some of the shit that he says.
Well, that's the thing, like, sure, you know, some of it doesn't hold up, but there's so many jokes that ends up being like 10% of the total jokes, and the rest of it is still pretty solid.
Or a lot of the stuff Alec Baldwin says. Like, yes, I was watching the arc that Edie Falco was on yesterday, and she started saying something like really liberal, and he's like, "I want to kiss you on the mouth," or what did he say? Just to stop you from saying what you're saying, something like that.
Yeah.
Just yet, I was reminded how funny it was. Although I did have some thoughts, like, I don't know if you noticed, Tina Fey's gotten really woke really quickly. Like, if you followed her in the press. I mean, at the standards when the show came out, she still was too, but I mean, like, she's gotten like hyper woke. I've seen a lot of jokes on 30 Rock. I'm like, oh, really? Do you think 2021 Tina Fey would agree with having this joke?
Yeah, well, you can't even watch the blackface episodes, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's gone. Yeah. When what was it? What was their costume? Black Lynn, or
I can't remember.
She was Lynn Swan, and then Will Forte was Natalie Portman from Black Swan.
Right.
I believe there's 31 letters in the white alphabet. I believe vampires are the best golfers, and their curse is they can never show it. Like all of the things that I'm sure, like, that had to be an improv. Like,
yeah.
Why does Tracy Morgan not get his due? Is it just because he's crazy?
I don't know. Was his stand-up ever that great?
I mean, I didn't know who he was till Saturday Night Live. Or even yesterday when they were talking the story about why they didn't want to put him in drag. You know, and then he gets pissed off because the one guy does it and it goes over well in the show. And he's like, Eddie Murphy does it? Martin Lawrence does it? Whoopi Goldberg does it every damn day. But yeah, I had to retract some of my 30 Rock derision.
I hear what you're saying about Tina Fey. I mean, it's such a part of just working in the entertainment industry that it's impossible to separate it from, you know, somebody who honestly believes the bullshit coming out of their mouth versus somebody who just needs to do this so that they can continue to work. And who's to say what the case is with Tina? But I mean, Whoopi is a much better example, though, of somebody who, look at the comedy that she used to do and the shit that comes out of her mouth on The View. I mean, it's night and day.
I mean, I recall her being cool with Ted Danson wearing blackface.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and not pro blackface. Just want to get that out of the way.
I'm not pro. Yeah, I'm not pro it either.
But it's how long do jokes have? 10, 15 years? Will they die while we're alive?
Well,
it's just going to all turn into improv humor.
I think humor evolves. Humor has definitely evolved, and it's not like jokes go away, like things just stop being funny. It's that, I mean, try and read a joke book from the turn of the century. Like, they're not even recognizable as jokes. It's like they forgot to write a punchline for it.
Yeah, but too, have you listened to George Carlin lately?
Yeah, actually, I have I have all of the stuff that he has on iTunes in my collection, and so it pops up randomly.
It holds up. There's nothing that I've heard him go like, "Oh man, you'd get killed." Like, well, just his tone overall in 2021, he'd get murdered. But I'm saying as far as there's no cringy. There's nothing like, ooh, like that joke didn't age well with him. At least not the stuff I've been listening to. Like,
I wonder if he would get murdered because
you need that edgy humorist. You need edgy humor. Otherwise, it's fucking we're.
One thing that I'm pretty sure that George Carlin would never do would be apologize for something that he said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he doesn't speak off the cuff. I mean, I know that a lot of his material, especially in later years, just seemed like rants, but believe me, all that stuff was written and rewritten and tested and worked. You know, that was when he did those specials, that was a tightly worked act. That wasn't just like, oh, this is really steaming me, I'm going to get out there. And so he knew exactly what he was saying and what he wanted to say. So I can't imagine him apologizing for somebody being offended by what he chose to say. So I wonder if, I mean, I don't know if we'll know in our day and age because nobody has yet fully stood up to the mob online and said, fuck you all for being offended.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Hart did the second time they tried to get him for the same shit. You know, he did, but then he stood up to him, but then he apologized again.
Yep. He apologized. He stood up to him. He apologized. You know, at some point, you know, Kevin Hart's acting rationally, and then his manager, I'm sure, goes, Kevin, look, why do you want to risk all these dates on this? Let's put it behind us. And again, I can't blame anyone for doing that. It's not a good situation to be put in. You thought you entered a profession that would allow yourself to express yourself in the way that you wanted to, and now you find that you constantly have to apologize for that just to ensure that you can continue to express yourself the way that you want to. It's kind of a losing game at this point. I hate to be a person that, you know, has any kind of public face and relies on their career for their, you know, whether or not they're going to get canceled by somebody on Twitter. I'm not totally like playing the world's, you know, smallest violin for him either.
Yeah, he'd be all right. If he never got a job again, he'd be all right.
I've been watching Slings and Arrows, that Canadian TV that I showed you, but I forgot about how, well, Mark McKinney's in it. He plays he's the, I don't know, the manager of the whole, he's the business side
speaking
of the theater.
Speaking of not aging well, he did not age well.
I haven't seen him recently.
Just look at him. Look at a picture from Kids in the Hall and look at him from Superstore and be like, "Whoa, what happened?"
Well, I did see there's a short video that I guess they're doing a reunion or something, and there was like a photo from it. I think it was a short video clip that they did.
He put on a few
to announce the reunion, and I was like, "Oh my god,
who are these five old men?" Because that's what they look like.
What? Why are the Three Stooges still alive, and why is there five of them?
The only one that looks remotely close to how they used to look is Bruce McCullough, but he's fat. Like he's chubby and he's got some gray.
He's chubbier, but yeah, he still looks like the same person in there. The others look like they went into a chrysalis and came out completely different people.
Yeah, right. Well, Dave Foley wasn't aging well. Like he seemed to go from his 20s to his 40s overnight.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if he liked to drink or what. Like there was not a lot of time between when Kids in the Hall ended and when News Radio began, and he looked like two different people.
And his boyish charm was part of his shtick.
Yeah, that's
for as long as he had that going on.
No, I had a friend like that. We joked with him that he looked like he was 16, and then he got to about 26, 27. All of a sudden, he went from looking like 21 to like 41.
Yeah,
like all his hair fell out. He gained a bunch of weight. So Slings and Arrows.
Oh yeah, why did I bring it up in the first place? I don't know what made me think of it, but highly recommend it. It's a Canadian show, but it's shorter, like a British show. So each is 3 seasons. 6 episodes each season, so it goes pretty quick. And I think anybody who's ever been involved in anything creative, not necessarily the theater, but has put on any kind of performance anywhere, would appreciate a lot of the humor and good writing that goes into this show.
So, like, if you enjoyed Waiting for Guffman,
I think, it's somewhat parodied, but it's also rooted in reality. But their actors, most of the cast is from the actors that are in the theater. It's a Shakespeare theater. So there's a lot of high drama stuff, and it can get into the ridiculous. And certainly, part of the running plot through the series is the main character seeing the ghost of another one who passes in the first episode. That character lives on to haunt them. So there's even a little bit of a supernatural element, but they don't get super deep into it. It's more just played for yucks. But it's really great writing about just the artistic process in general, but also putting it in light of the world that it has to exist in. There's the constant battle between the artistic side and the business side, and it's not outright vilifying one or the other. It's not just saying, all artists are crazy and unreasonable people, or everyone on the business end is just pencil pushers that don't understand art. It's quite the nuanced show, while it's not preachy. It's very light. I shouldn't say it's very light. It gets pretty damn serious.
It sounds pretty fancy for just a comedy.
Yeah, it's a comedy drama. It's a little bit of everything. It was kind of ahead of its time.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Amazon is hiring near you, and it literally pays to start now. Get a sign-on bonus up to $1,500 on top of competitive wages. You'll do important work, learn new skills, and get orders ready as part of a dedicated team. So find a job with benefits that fit your life, full-time or part-time, day or night, and start now to get a sign-on bonus up to $1,500 before they're gone. Let's work together. Visit Amazon.com/sign-on bonus. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Today tastes like heading out the door and driving into town. It tastes like grabbing snacks and a Coke and singing as loud as you can. Today tastes like anything could happen. And it never tasted this good. Summer tastes better with Coca-Cola.
Wherever you're going this week, don't forget to grab an ice-cold, refreshing Coca-Cola from 7-Eleven.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.